Hey, what's happening, everybody? How are you doing? Happy day of the week, whatever day that is. I'm just joking. It's Monday, April 6th. I'm coming a day late and $1 short to the Kurt Cobain memoriam party, and I just wanted to throw my hat in, so to speak, and just talk about Kurt Cobain and Nirvana for a moment, because, well, you're the best company I have right now, and love to talk about Nirvana. So, dig it. I won't be too long in the tooth on this, but where to even begin? All right, so my first concert was Vanilla Ice on the To the Extreme tour. I was taken by an uncle with my brother, and he made us leave before it was over because he couldn't handle it, and I don't remember how I felt about it then. But flash forward, 1991, Nevermind, I was a little scared of that, to be honest. You know, I just started watching MTV, and I was used to like Paula Abdul and Vanilla Ice, and that's what I was used to seeing. I was of that age, you know, 5th grade or whatever. And then all of a sudden it's like the anarchy symbols on the hot cheerleaders and these guys. I can't stop watching it, but it definitely gives me a little trepidation. You know, the Come As You Are video and all that. So I wasn't ready for them at that point. What I was ready for was finally jumping into Metallica, because Nothing Else Matters came out as a video. I don't remember how close those things were. I know the albums were spaced a little bit, but back then, you know, gosh, an album would be out all year and you'd get a video throughout the year of it being released. It wasn't just like the month before it comes out and then that's all you hear of it. Anyway, so I was a little scared of buying the Black Album. And once I did and realized there was no turning back and it wasn't a bad thing, then I was ready to start kind of tipping the toes to Nirvana. And when I was 13 in 8th grade, started playing guitar, and well, wouldn't you know it, I was just hitting the Nirvana thing at the same time as my good friend George, who was like he was like the ringmaster for why Nirvana was like the greatest band ever. So we were primed for In Utero to come out. We were all in, 13 years old, just playing in a band. All the songs we played were Nirvana songs, leaving out whatever parts we couldn't figure out. Smells Like Teen Spirit. Hey. We had no idea how to play that, so we just didn't. We'd figured out the rest, and that was good enough for us. And well, my second concert, my first rock concert, and I believe I was 15, and it was for my 15th birthday. I'm born in November, and on November 11th, 1993, when I was in 8th grade, Nirvana came to DC on the In Utero tour and played the Bender Arena, which is the basketball court at American University. And that whole show is up on YouTube, which is pretty awesome. But I was there with some good friends. My mom sat on Ticketmaster calling just over and over and over again all morning to get tickets. So thank you, Mom. That was really an amazing thing you did. And that's how it used to be back in the day with Ticketmaster. You would either go line up hours before it opened up, the day before, however popular the concert was, and those locations were kind of here, there, and everywhere in random spots. Or you would just call on the phone, and if it was a really popular ticket sale, like Nirvana would be, you just had to keep calling until you got through. You would just get the boop, boop, boop. So anyway, she got the tickets. I went, and I was able to bring friends because she got several tickets. And if my memory serves correct, because I'm 40 years old now, but I experienced that with George, with Blair, with John, with Chris, with Dan, with Kit, and I believe that was our crew. But it was awesome. I mean, the Breeders opened up, Half Japanese opened up. My mom got so nervous dropping us off that she went back. This is the story I've been told. She went back and was like a frantic mother, like, my kids are in there, blah, blah, blah. And they let her see the show from a skybox so she could be there in case anything happened. And I asked her, well, because this was news to us when we're getting in the car after the show. She's like, I was there. I was like, well, what'd you think? She said, I just watched that crowd and just thought you guys were gonna get killed. It was awesome. I mean, they had the Angels up, they trashed everything. Unplugged had already happened, so Jesus Don't Want Me for a Sunbeam, like we knew that was in the repertoire, and they played that, dedicated it to River Phoenix because he had just passed away. And we figured out that, I mean, this is our first rock concert, right? I think maybe George and John had maybe been to another one. Definitely probably George. But the rest of us, like, this is new territory. John figured out if you just ask people for cigarettes, they'll give them to you. And he had like 30 different kinds of cigarettes. He didn't touch a single one. I don't think any of us did. Well, one of us definitely did. I did not. I don't believe at that time. Not important. And we also figured out that if you wanted to go crowd surfing, you would just tap someone on the shoulder, give them the up, and they boost you up. We also learned that only works if you're close to the stage where there's a dense population of people. I've tried one time to go up, and I went up and I went BAM! Right down on the basketball hard court, straight on my back, and knocked the wind out of me. And I just got up and moved to a different part of the crowd. I was so embarrassed, and I just went back to rocking out. So we saw Nirvana. Nirvana was like so huge to us, and then 26 years ago yesterday, I remember at my all-dude private school that I attended with all the guys I just mentioned, we had mandatory sports every day, and the end of the day ended with some sports practice of some kind, which meant we were in the locker rooms. The last thing we were leaving school through was the locker room. And I remember one of my classmates, I believe it was a gentleman named Eddie, who, he was one of the bigger guys, hit puberty before others, and at an all-guys school, he was a bit of a bully. I can't speak on anything but my experience at the time. I was a little, not only scared of him, but just like resentful, and I didn't like the guy. And I don't think he liked me, and it was a two-way street. Who knows, chicken or the egg? But anyway, he comes up to me and says, "Hey, sorry to hear about your boy." I said, "What do you mean?" And he said, "Oh, Kurt Cobain's dead." I said, "What do you mean Kurt Cobain's dead?" He's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Man, I'm getting this information from someone I don't even like anyway," so I just brush it off. Get in the car, and I don't remember exactly how the conversation went from there with my mom, but yeah, sure enough, Kurt Cobain is dead. And, Kurt Loder is breaking that news to us young folks. And then it's, the Courtney Love reading of the note and just that kind of footage, and then it's all the, how much we lost. We lost the John Lennon of our generation. We lost this, we lost that. And, we're in 8th grade, man. We're trying to figure out, so much. And having someone like Kurt Cobain kind of, even if it was, a little bit of weirdo stuff we were doing, it gave us a sense of a identity center, kind of. And I'll give you an example. Like, two of my good friends that were mentioned in that group, they were the biggest fans, and they took it hard. And before he passed, they were the ones that really took just the cues from Kurt of like, do your thing, man. Like, be you, be a freak. You know, gender is fluid. You know, I showed up to the Headbangers Ball in a dress because it's the ball. You know, so they would, you know, they would be a little outlandish with kind of imitating that, but it gave them like a comfort and a sense of center, and it allowed all of us to kind of feel like we were modeling something that we respected and that we thought was really cool. And then he's gone, and we're told it's suicide, a shotgun blast to the head. Well, two of these guys, you know, we'd read the books, Come As You Are, and we devoured everything we could, because that's how it was back then. It wasn't just wherever you looked, it was whatever was there, and then you had to be able to find it. Anyway, you know, I remember them bringing a razor to school. Now, from what I understand, it was one of their mother's like lady shavers, and this took a long time, but they sat there and carved K's into themselves during school, and they started acting out in ways that I don't know and I don't understand. But one of them was pulled out of school, and he had, you know, some serious like professional counseling and rehabilitation that he went through a long time. Now, he came out the other side like super great, and he's still with us, but my other friend he's not with us. Many years now, I'm sad to say. And I'm sad to say that I don't remember off the top of my head, as I'm speaking of him, how many years he's been gone. But it'll be coming up on 10 soon. But he was, okay, more on him in a moment. But I'll just get back to Kurt Cobain. And there's a YouTuber named American Spy Fox who did an outstanding series just over these last couple months on the death of Kurt Cobain, the last week of his life. And it gave me a lot of information I didn't know, but I wasn't really surprised at all. I've never felt it was a suicide. And I think I have more vocab why, just having watched his series and then having thought to look back on it. I mean, the guy loved what he was into. And what he was into was everything. The art he was into. The music he was playing, the bands he was really into the stuff he was into, and it was life to him. It was life, right? He's had a lot of, I think that the theory that the note that was found was, well, first of all, not a suicide note. Definitely not a suicide note. I mean, the guy journaled. If you've done any kind of journaling, you write all kinds of things. And some things are never meant for other people to read, and some things, if other people did read them, they'd completely misunderstand the context of what you wrote that, or when you wrote that, or whatever, and they can use that to their advantage. So the theory that it was a resignation letter, or just him expressing himself to himself, as if he was expressing it to fans, about why you might not be getting like a big worldwide, you won't be getting a big blown up super rock band Nirvana anymore. Whether Nirvana was going to break up or not, Kurt wasn't going to be bringing you music that was that big. And he was going to take some time off. Now, I think that was great. There's also theories that he was moving to Scotland because he fell in love with the music scene there and just wanted to have fun. And, I believe that, man. The guy just loved playing music, and he loved music. And it got him through so much, right? And he was in a great place. He loved his music. He always gave it his all. You look at any of those pictures of him, you look at any of those performances, you listen to any of those performances, and you're getting his everything. I mean, they're giving it their all. And so him being suicidal, like, I just don't believe that at all. On top of that, the drug use. If you've watched any YouTube or reality show about drug addiction or anything, you see that people who use heroin will literally, like, they will coexist in total garbage, in like the worst of the worst situation. And you know what will keep them going? Heroin. And you know what makes them forget about all their troubles? Heroin. I haven't looked into it, but I'm sure the statistics on people committing suicide while under the influence of that drug, I'm sure is pretty small. So anyway, there's that. Finally, we're at Courtney Love, and I'll keep this. I see my clock ticking, so I'll keep this a little shorter. Courtney Love. There's just so much to unpack with her, but the biggest thing is the two of them didn't know each other hardly at all before they got pregnant and then married, because Kurt Cobain was a great guy and felt like that was the right thing to do. Not only did that come on the backs of her being quite the starfucker and just sleeping her way up the ranks, she met Kurt because she went to go bang Billy in Chicago, and Billy turned her away like the groupie that she was, and then she ended up kind of, meeting Kurt and just being so extroverted that he couldn't help but be spellbound. And then of course she gets pregnant, and then he wants to do the right thing. So she's a mess. Could you imagine anyone being happy with her? No. And you look at the guy that we all knew he was, and then you see some of the things that he ended up doing, like that phone call to that reporter. He felt terrible about that, and he realized that this situation is not good, but there's a kid involved. So anyway, there's the rumors of divorce, that he's going to move to Scotland. Courtney doesn't want that. Her album's about to come out, her album that Kurt and Billy Corgan helped write. And if Kurt Cobain, the biggest rock star on the planet, divorces Courtney Love within such a short time of being together with a daughter, who's going to be vilified there? Also, that's going to tank her. Also, if she's divorced, she's worth, let's say, $5 million. If she's widowed, she's worth $500 million. The woman has shown from day one that she is capable of taking secrets to the grave and prides herself in doing so. And the whole lead up, I strongly suggest you watch the American Spy Fox series on Kurt Cobain's last week. It's pretty amazing. Or last month, or whatever the last stretch is. And Soaked in Bleach is really great too. But yeah, there are people that are willing to take secrets to the grave. She is one. And there is no way this wasn't going to be not going to be her moment, right? And she played the victim and rode it all the way to the bank and to the fame she wanted, and that's pretty much been about that. I mean, Flash in the Pan is only because of his death. So how it went down: murder for hire, accidental overdose, and cover up. I mean, who knows? But it was not a suicide. And I've never been convinced of that. And I really resent how it was presented to us like that, with no questions, and the way Kurt Loder presented that to kids. I really have always resented that. And it made a huge impact in people in my life, one who doesn't have a life anymore. Sure, it impacted a lot of other people. I think that it was very irresponsible how that was all, just everyone was trying to get a piece of that pie, man. And of course it went down like that if the woman behind his death is the one who profited the most off of it, of course it's going to trickle down. Trickle down suckonomics. So, on a lighter side, I think if Kurt Cobain had still been with us, I think that we would have had so many great albums. They would have been just, you know, they would have been all kinds of stuff. Would have been interesting to see what he and Michael Stipe did, although I wasn't excited about it. I didn't care much about that. But it would have been interesting to see how the man would have kept exploring his songwriting, because he only left us so much music and it's all amazing. I mean, Bleach is freaking amazing. Amazing. Incesticide is totally cool. Glad that we have it on top of that. Nevermind, of course, is Nevermind. And In Utero is just like, blow your head out, man. Oh, that was a bad thing to say. It's just like, it's awesome. And that's all we got. But it was every step of the way. It was just so, it's awesome. I've had lots of bootlegs over the years that have come and gone, but the only couple I have left, this is Nevermind era stuff. Really good. Band for Life, the name of this one. Live in '92 from Seattle. Also has some radio stuff. I mean, a lot of these bootlegs, they overlap. And then I have this from Bleach era, Live Buzz. This one is awesome. The vibe on it, from the recording quality and the way they played and the tunes that they're playing, super awesome. Love this one. Could never part with that one. But I think that the world would be a much better place if he was still with us. I mean, there are people that their death allowed the world to continue down a path they wouldn't have been happy with. And boy, would he be ecstatic to see a world now where you could just put out your own content whenever you want. A band like King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, I think Kurt Cobain would be like, that's amazing. And you know what? Without Kurt Cobain, there wouldn't be that band, because you know they're Nirvana fans. And I'm still playing music to this day, still teaching, still trying to pass on the experience that I had, falling in love with rock and roll through Nirvana, and picking up a guitar because of Nirvana. And yeah, those are my thoughts. I hope everybody's well. Quarantine, remember, cover your face. That's your way of saying you're going to protect me. This is my way of saying I'm going to protect you. Rock out. Peace. Be good to yourselves. And listen to some Nirvana. Right on. Yeehaw!
Really like crack right across the street from the White House.